Hello and welcome to Friday's Granada Reports, live with the latest across the northwest.
Hello there. On the programme this evening.
Massed crowds, minor infections. The results are finally published from the pilot events held in Liverpool. We'll have all the details at the top of the programme.
Inside the world of OnlyFans, women from our region who use the online platform talk of the cash rewards, but also the abuse they get for selling themselves online.
Not nice, it's horrible, and you do go home and have a bit of a cry, but you get over it because I feel like I'm past that. I'm doing better than that.
A farewell fit for a hero. Veterans gathered to say goodbye and thank you to the Second World War soldier Ronald Melbourne.
Remember the name, Nina Marlin. We meet the teenage sensation of the new star-studded film Supernova that's set in the Lake District.
And after a cloudy day for many of us today, we're walking into the weekend with the prospect of some sunshine for all of us. Join me later for all the weather and pollen details.
Lots on the programme for you this evening, but first, there were no substantial outbreaks of COVID-19 after the mass pilot entertainment events which took place in Liverpool and elsewhere in the country earlier this year.
A delayed government report into its so-called events research programme confirmed there were 28 cases of COVID-19 during 9 events with 58,000 people taking part. They included a concert in Sefton Park and 2 club nights in Liverpool.
Our correspondent Elaine Wilcox is with us with the details. Elaine.
Yes, that's right. This long-awaited data has been released just a day after leading figures in the entertainment industry threatened legal action to see it. There have been 4 events in Liverpool, as you say, as part of the pilot trials. The first back in April, the Good Business event, and 240 people took part, and they didn't have to wear face masks or social distance. Then the bigger events, 2 large club nights were held at the Circus nightclub, where 7,000 people took part over 2 nights, and clubbers had to show proof of a negative COVID test, and there was no social distancing on the dance floor. More than 6,000 music fans took part in the first concert for over a year at Liverpool's Sefton Park. Those analysing the data say the prevention controls worked, including staggering entry and exit times. So here are the figures. There were no COVID cases at the Liverpool business event. There were 11 positive COVID cases at the club nights at Circus, and there were 2 positive cases at the concert at Sefton Park. Now, Professor Ian Buchan from the University of Liverpool said he'd never seen a crowd of 6,000 people suddenly burst into happy tears, an outbreak of joy, he said, rather than an outbreak of a virus, which he said was incredibly moving. Now, the figures are promising for the entertainment industry badly hit by the pandemic. Remember, nightclubs are still closed, and a number of festivals like Kendal Calling have already been cancelled this summer. Sasha Lord, Greater Manchester's nighttime advisor, wants the government to announce an event indemnity insurance. That would mean event organisers and staff still get paid if they have to be cancelled. And he's warning a huge supply chain is about to go bust without it. At the moment, Manchester's Parklight Festival is still going ahead. But remember, these pilot events were held in April and May when COVID infection rates were low, but more people have been vaccinated now. And the Culture Secretary said the data allows us to plan for big events, including the Euros, where 60,000 fans will be at Wembley. Another big test. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, Elaine, thanks for the updates.
Next, a special report about the website OnlyFans and the women from this region treading a fine line between earning potentially large salaries and making themselves targets for abuse.
Yeah, OnlyFans is driven by often explicit images which online followers have to pay to see. The women you'll hear from say it's empowered them and given them a better lifestyle.
But it comes at a price and a warning: those images you shared never go away. This from our reporter, Zoe Muldoon.
it's fast becoming one of the most lucrative businesses in the world. OnlyFans is the online platform where content creators or models share pictures and videos directly with subscribers for a monthly fee. The site has boomed during the pandemic, and there's now over 130 million users. Creators can post a range of content from workouts to beauty tips, but it's also known for its pornography. 25-year-old Beth Spivey from Manchester earns up to £20,000 every month by selling explicit content to thousands of fans.
There's this misconception that, you earn loads and you do nothing for it and, get a real job. And I think, well, one, I make more than your yearly wage. And two, I feel like I actually work really hard for it, because if I don't work as much, then that divides by 10. There's been a massive increase, especially over the pandemic, because people think it's easy money, which it is and it isn't. You have to put work in, you have to grow your own platform, and you could say it's more competition, but personally, I don't feel that way because I've found my niche.
Many of the content creators that I've spoken to didn't want to appear on camera. They all have different reasons and stories for starting on OnlyFans. One girl I've spoken to worked as an escort, but when the pandemic hit, she moved all of her work online and now says she's making more money than ever. Another told me that she got into it through one of her friends who was using OnlyFans to support her income as a beauty therapist. But despite all of the different reasons for getting involved with the site, all of the women that I've spoken to have two things in common. They say they feel in control and that their job empowers them.
It can be a very lucrative career choice for many women who, alternative forms of work would not lead to that type of income. So I'm not surprised that women are feeling empowered by that.
Professor Sarah Kingston and Shelley Stoops from the University of Central Lancashire work with people in the sex industry, including providing support for women working on the streets. They say that because OnlyFans is based online, there's an illusion of safety, but the consequences of selling explicit images can be devastating.
There are people who can find out where you live, you get stalkers, all these, it doesn't come without danger, it doesn't come without risks. People need to be mindful that once you put something out there on the internet, it's there forever. So you could be struggling financially now and selling images and so on and so forth, but maybe in 5 years or further down the line, you've got children, whatever, you can't bring those images back. But it would seem to me, and again, we're at the early stages here with this because it's such a new phenomenon, it would seem the harms are much less than any other kind of sex work at this point.
The sex industry is no different to any other organisation or community that's being targeted by people who are trying to exploit that.
22-year-old Ali May from Cleveley's is one content creator who hasn't always had positive experiences. She joined OnlyFans 3 years ago after leaving her supermarket job and now earns up to £150,000 every year.
I'm basically my own boss. I can, clock in, clock out whenever I want. There's no set times. I'm not being told what I have to post or what I have to do. So yeah, it's all down to me, and I, basically have all the freedom in the world.
While Ali enjoys the work, she's been subjected to horrific abuse both online and in person.
I've had people stalk me, I've had people throw things at me in the street, but you just rise above it. It is what it is. You should just expect that sort of thing, I think, when you're in this sort of industry.
And incidents like that have happened because of your OnlyFans?
Yeah, they've shouted things to do with my OnlyFans, from the car.
That's awful.
I know.
How did that make you feel?
Not nice. It's horrible, and you do go home and have a bit of a cry, but you get over it because I feel like I'm past that. I'm doing better than that, and it doesn't matter. I have a really good support system, so I can talk to everybody around me, and they all tell me the same thing, which is it's either jealousy or they've just got something wrong with them. I don't know.
OnlyFans told us that safety is paramount on the site, and we have stringent checks to ensure that all users are safe with a zero tolerance for discrimination or harassment. The popularity boom that OnlyFans has seen during the pandemic doesn't seem to be waning. Celebrities using the platform only add to its allure. Beth and Ali say attitudes to this type of work are changing, But both believe more needs to be done to destigmatise it. They also stress anyone thinking of joining the site need to be aware of the long-term risks. These images never go away. Zoe Muldoon, ITV News.
Yeah, fascinating insight into that world. Next, to growing calls for clarity over the future of homeschooling as thousands of children across the region self-isolate amid rising rates of the Delta variant of coronavirus. Many of those sent home are coming into contact with someone who's tested positive, have themselves tested negative.
But under current rules, they are still expected to stay inside for 10 days, forcing lessons back online. Trials are underway for daily testing instead, but there's no sign yet of a rollout.
One head teacher has told us the situation is simply not sustainable. Our correspondent, Andy Bonner, has more.
COVID rates are rising again, and the biggest increases are in younger groups. The number of children out of class has nearly trebled in a week. Pupil absence at its highest since schools fully reopened in March.
It's difficult, if I'm honest with you. The homeschooling has to take secondary priority to my work. I start a lot earlier in the morning, provide some time during the day to manage the homeschooling, to make sure the children are okay, plus going out to get PCR tests now as well, which is another requirement, and then working late in the evenings. So it has been very stressful.
Jackie from Northwich is having to juggle working at home while homeschooling daughter Emma, and she's only just finished 10 days with son Ethan.
My children have both taken probably 3 to 5 tests over the past few weeks, so they're negative. These continuous 10-day cycles of isolation is just not feasible, both academically or from a wellbeing point of view. As a parent, I would like to know what is the government's plans for September onwards.
Confusion is adding to the frustration. The Mumsnet website says some parents don't know what to do if their child tests negative but has been in contact with someone who has the virus.
We have seen a lot of threads started where parents aren't sure or are being given different advice from the schools than is on the Public Health England website. And we're seeing parents think it might be the whole household that has to isolate. So there just seems to be a real sense of mixed messages.
The virus is taking off in largely unvaccinated age groups where youngsters are also mixing more. In Liverpool, more than 5,000 students and 300 school staff have been isolating.
This absolutely shows that COVID hasn't gone away, and that means we've got to, dust off the manual and have a look and make sure that everyone's doing the right thing. I mean, unfortunately, this is quite simple. If people are a close contact of a positive case, they need to be self-isolating at home. So that isn't out, playing with their friends. It isn't out, going out and shopping. It's staying at home, self-isolating for that 10-day period.
Health bosses say while vaccines are protecting people, even 2 jabs won't stop COVID altogether. Now head teachers are growing concerned for what the autumn term may bring.
I think we've got to really think about it though, because if we go into the autumn term and we're still seeing these levels of disruption of 10-day isolation, we know in areas like Oldham, some children are on their 7th period of isolation, and that's on top of the 115 days they have lost because of lockdown. Things need to change, and the government need to tell us about what their plan is for the autumn term. We need a better plan.
The government says schools have robust protective measures and that it's taking additional measures in areas worst hit. Absence in schools reflects wider community transmission, it says, but that is little comfort to the parents homeschooling or to the pupils whose classrooms are closed once again. Andy Bonner, ITV News.
Yep, homeschooling is not a pleasant experience for children or parents, I don't think. Military veterans from across the northwest have come together to lay to rest a World War II gunner who died without any surviving family. Ronald Melbourne from Warrington passed away a fortnight ago at the age of 96.
His friends who knew him by his nickname Tony wanted to ensure he got the best possible send-off, even amid the pandemic. They invited our cameras so as many people as possible could honour his memory. Our correspondent, Rob Smith, was there.
Carried to his final rest with every honour they could muster, a man who served his country tirelessly. Ronald Melbourne from Warrington died without any surviving family at the age of 96. The World War II artillery gunner, better known as Tony to his friends, barely spoke about his time in the military. He told everyone, "I did that so you didn't have to." Today, friends did him proud, inviting veterans from across the Northwest to say a proper goodbye.
He was loving, he was funny, he was kind, he was caring, he was full of jokes, always smiling, says hello to anybody. It was lovely.
So it must mean so much to be able to do this for him.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Yeah. One thing I could do was give him the send-off he deserved.
That generation, they've got no family, or they've outlived the family. And most of them go unnoticed. They just have to have every stop pulled out. You know, the standers, the bugler, the piper. It's just what the military do. He might not have blood family, but he's certainly got a lot of military family.
Members of that family who fought in the 1930s and 40s are fewer in number now as the years go by. Those who served later determined to pay respects to one who served before.
They were so brave. I mean, I did serve, I did 12 years, but for them to go through what they did go through must be absolutely unbelievable.
There's very, very few of them left now, and people seem to have forgotten what they actually did for us, and luckily to us that they managed to keep our freedom.
No one here will ever forget what Tony did. No one here will ever forget him. Rob Smith, ITV News, Warrington.
A fitting way to say goodbye to somebody who served their country. Great to see.
Now, how brilliant is it that cinemas are open again? Well, one film that's been released nationwide today is Supernova, starring Oscar-winning actor Colin Firth, Stanley Tucci and popular actress Pippa Haywood.
And amongst those A-list stars is a teenager from Lancaster called Nina Marlin, who's hit the dizzy heights of Hollywood on her very first acting job. Our entertainment correspondent Caroline Whitmore chatted all things starry with this rising star herself.
What do you mean?
When a star gets really old, okay, it runs out of fuel.
Nina Marlin, you are 14 years old. Your first ever acting job is alongside Colin Firth, Stanley Tucci in Supernova. Can you believe that this has happened to you?
No. No, I can't. It's really strange. Very sudden. Thought it was a mistake.
Really?
Yeah. And even on set, it was like, are you sure?
You're a girl from Lancaster. You live in Kendal. Most of the film was filmed around the Lake District. Did that make it easier for you to be around places that you know?
Oh, yeah. Not just the travelling side, but just like the comfort of like landscapes that you recognise.
Supernova is out tonight. How did it all come about?
It was an open call. That's why it was very sudden and everything, because I had nothing to do with acting ever. I hadn't done anything. Sent a photo in of my face, that's it. And they liked the face.
Who wouldn't like the face, Nina?
Yeah. And then we sent a video of me speaking. They said, we want to offer you the part. Do you want to have it? Yeah. Okay.
Maybe Sam will do it for you.
I'd love to.
Pippa Haywood, you play the part of Colin's sister, Lily.
What a thrill in itself, you know, for your agent to ring up and say, would you like to consider being Colin Firth's sister in the film? Well, you know.
I wish this holiday wouldn't end.
It's a beautiful love story, which is so beautifully written by Harry McQueen, set in the most wonderful location, and it really explores how dementia affects a love relationship.
I want to be remembered for who I was, and not for who I'm about to become.
They asked for a local actress, Nina Marlin, who played Charlotte, your daughter. Now, could you believe that was her first ever acting role?
Total natural. She is the most brilliant performer. Nothing fazed her. She had extraordinary maturity and extraordinary confidence.
People do recognise you from so many different things. My personal favourite, British Empire, and more recently, Bridgerton. What do people stop you in the street for?
I think my best fun was once in a supermarket and this really aged lady came over to me and I was thinking, British Empire, maybe Prisoners' Wives. I wonder which one it'll be, Scott and Bailey. And then she said, I loved you in Green Wing. And of course, I was quite outrageous in Green Wing. So that was the last one I was expecting.
Okay. You've been self-taught the piano, the ukulele, the cello.
How do you know that?
I know everything, Nina. What can I say?
That's not in my biography, is it?
You got it?
Yeah.
Colin Firth's character Sam was a pianist. Did you give him any tips?
He was playing the piano. He said, "Do you want to do something?" And so we kind of played the piano together. Still haven't really taken it in, but it was very fun, exciting, amazing experience. So we're all like stars then?
Yeah.
Looks like a fabulous film, and what a fabulous young rising star.
I hope she remembers us when she's a top star.
Fingers crossed, remember us. Now, it has definitely been umbrella weather today, which is appropriate because we've got some striking umbrellas coming right up.
Yes, the amazing umbrella project created by the ADHD Foundation is back in Liverpool after being cancelled last year for obvious reasons. It's on Church Alley, which is off the main street through the city centre.
The display aims to raise awareness and to celebrate neurodiversity. They'll be there until the end of September.
Woohoo! Now, we need our brollies for the weekend, do we? Here's Joe with the details.
Now that is brew weather.
And only boiling what she needs.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Big up you, sis.
Hello again, good evening. You may just need an umbrella, perhaps in Liverpool, of your own tomorrow, but there's lots of fine weather across the whole of the northwest as we go through this weekend. Feeling warmer, just the odd isolated shower tomorrow, then becoming fine and dry. And Sunday looks decent as well, with some warm, sunny spells. Any fronts have tended to move away as we go through this evening, and leaving behind a little bit of low cloud at first, but settling down nicely for the weekend. Rain to the south of the country, not really affecting northern England at all. In fact, even as we go into the new week, staying fine and settled. Back to this evening. Outbreaks of showery rain for the next hour or two, but really improving. And certainly after midnight, most places becoming dry. One or two breaks in the cloud here and there, and that will allow temperatures really to fall to around 5 or 6 Celsius. So a little bit cooler than of late. On to tomorrow. The sun will be rising at 4:41, setting at 9:46 tomorrow evening. Perhaps a little bit cloudy where you are to start the day tomorrow, but much more in the way of brightness, certainly, than we've seen today across the board. The odd shower sparking off through the course of the day, but really lots of fine weather across the whole patch into the afternoon, and ending the day on a dry note for nearly all of us. Temperatures warming up to around 20 or 21 Celsius. A fresh breeze along the coast and up on higher ground. After a quiet night tomorrow night, Sunday, another fine day for the northwest of England and the Isle of Man. Some nice sunshine to look forward to, and feeling warm at around 21 Celsius. Even as we go into the new week, no real problems in terms of fronts. It should be largely dry on Monday and Tuesday, with temperatures just above average for the time of year, a gentle breeze and plenty of sunshine on offer for our part of the world.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
2 sugars, please.
Oh, lovely.
Hello, summer. Piri sponsors ITV pollen count.
With the fresher day today, pollen levels took a bit of a dip, but they're on the rise again as we go into this weekend. Tomorrow it's going to be high. Sunday and Monday, grass and nettle pollen, unfortunately, will be very high. Have a good one.
See you next week. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.